Good evening, YouTube. You guys are now watching another segment of TheCaliEffect, King of Games. And if you guys are here for a Yu-Gi-Oh video, then you might want to click somewhere else, almost any of my videos, except for the ones that say the story of the TheCaliEffect or TCE, I think I said that right. Then you might want to click on any of those. These are for people that want to know the man behind the scenes, want to know my personal life stories, and hopefully you can take something from it and grow as a person. So today I'm going to be starting talking to you guys about cars. Now, I am not the most mechanically inclined person I even know, but I want to say that if you do own a car, then there are some things that I personally feel that you guys should already have down packed, which is changing the tire, changing your oil, and basically almost anything that works under the hood that isn't, engine-wise or transmission-wise. And a lot of people don't know this, and it's not necessarily a terrible thing not to know this, but it's going to be a terrible thing later on down the line. You're either going to wind up paying a whole bunch of money or getting rid of your car that could have been perfectly fine because you didn't take advantage of everything that's available to you. We're in 2018. I know back in the day, obviously Google didn't exist in the term that it was now, but it's relatively easy to be able to fix on your own car, and hopefully I can give you guys some encouragement throughout my own story. So basically, just a little bit of background. I always was involved into breaking shit and fixing shit, whether it was electronics, toys, anything. I loved taking things apart and fixing them by myself. It's something that I've always enjoyed to do. So it wasn't really a huge, reach to say that that would transition into me working on cars, which again, I am no expert, but I know two things. Google's one hell of a thing, and AutoZone has every tool that I need. But before we go into that, just to start getting into the story. So it's around 2011, and me and my wife decide to buy our second car. Now, the reason why I don't even want to talk about my first car is because A, I had it for a grand total of a month. B, I didn't do everything I needed to do to secure or to even know what I was getting out of a car. So if you guys are going to buy a car, I would suggest you go buy a car from a private owner and not from a dealership. Now, the main reason why I say this is because most people that, that I deal with or that I talk to, whether it's on YouTube or whatever, they pay rent. Now, I know that's probably going to be like, what does paying rent have to do with buying a car from the lot? Well, normally if you're buying a car from the lot, you're paying a certain amount of bill on the car. Unless you can buy it all up front in cash, I would not purchase the car. I've seen too many people, go to a lot, buy a car for $6,000, which by the way isn't worth $6,000, and then turn around, can't afford their payments because they have to pay rent or their rent raises or some other situation occurs, and then they wind up losing the car and winding up back to the bus. What I'm teaching you guys today, or what I'm hopefully telling you guys today, will help you decide on buying the right car and also being able to afford your finances. Now, affording your finances is definitely going to be another video. Let's see if this video can get 100 likes. I know I'm reaching, but come on, just like this video up, and then I'll do a follow-up video about managing your finances and how you guys can have money all the time. Now, I'm gonna tell you, I'm not the richest person in the world, but if something were to happen, I have enough money to sustain. But now I'm digressing. I'm getting beside the point. The thing that I was talking about is that you want to buy your car from a private owner, because most people that pay rent shouldn't be buying a car and paying payments on a car. Now, if you live with mom or dad, hey, more power to you. If you don't got to pay rent, even fucking better. And don't give me rent as, oh, it's $200 a month. You can buy a car then. If you are providing for yourself or your family and your rent's like, I don't know, $1,000 a month plus your electricity bill and your internet and all that, don't buy a car from a lot, just buy a used car. But my first mistake on my very first car was that I didn't get it inspected, which I did correct in my second car. One thing that you guys want to do when purchasing a car, I have a couple of rule of thumbs that I hope you guys can get adjusted to, or hope you guys take into account. The first thing is that if you are buying a car, make sure to always, the first thing is to check the tires of the car. Now, tires are relatively expensive, and I found that out, I don't want to say necessarily the hard way, because I knew that my first car that I got didn't have the tires. I checked them, or the second car that I got didn't have the tires. I checked them, but at the same time, I didn't know how expensive tires were, or I probably would have haggled for a little of a lower price. That's the first thing you want to do. If you guys don't know anything about cars, then, take a penny, Inside of the penny, there is obviously Abraham Lincoln. You want to take that penny and put it into one of the grooves of the car's tire. Now, if it goes to a pretty decent amount where Lincoln's almost, you know, disappearing, then congratulations, you have some tread on that tire, and it's going to be a pretty decent tire. When I went to buy my car, I looked at the side of the tire. There was no tread. Literally, it was bald. There was no, I couldn't even, it was no point in even pulling out anything to check. That's how terrible the tread was on this car. It was a 97 Hyundai Elantra, and I actually still to this day, 7 years later, have that car. So it's quite a few stories that I have about that car, and it's also going to relate into taking care of your car, keeping, you know, maintaining your car, but even more importantly, fixing the small problems before scrapping your car, because there were quite a few small problems along the way that I could have just scrapped the car and I would have been completely out of a car when all I had to do was fix really, really simple problems that seemed like enormous monsters. So we check out the car. The guy is selling it for $1,400. I wound up getting him down to $1,000. I'm like, look, this ain't got no tire. Like, the tires are done. I'm gonna have to pay new tires. The air conditioning, he said, needed a recharge, which that was a complete lie, but he said the air conditioner needed a recharge, and I'm like, damn, you know, I need to get this air conditioner recharge. I got to get this. So I haggled it down from $1,400 to $1,000. Now, another thing that you guys want to look at for your car is the mileage. In this particular car, it only had 105,000 miles at the time, which for a 97 car is fucking huge. The average person will drive between 10,000 and 15,000 miles per year. So if you guys subtract 1997 from 2011, you get roughly, I'm sorry, I'm terrible at math. You get 12 years. So it should have at the very least 120,000 miles at the time. That car had 105. So it was a perfect car for that thing. The next thing you guys want to do is take the car to AutoZone, take the car to a mechanical shop, somewhere that can get a diagnosis, even if the check engine light isn't on. The reason why I'm saying this is because I'm going to explain to you guys a little bit later in the future, or later in this video, but basically the reason why you do it is to make sure that there's nothing on your car. Even if the check engine light isn't on, some things still might show up, so you want to check that out as well. So basically, we took the car to go get checked out. I checked the tires and I bargained down to $1,000. We wound up buying the car. And I want to say we were probably the most excited people ever. Now, keep in mind, this car is a rust bucket. It is a bucket on bucket. There's no way you can hide that this isn't a bucket, but it doesn't fucking matter. When you don't, or when you no longer have to take the bus, I mean, anything fucking feels good. The fact that I don't have to wake up at a certain time, be somewhere at a certain time for the bus to probably pick me up. And if you guys ever lived in Las Vegas or lived in some rural series, buses don't come on the times that they say they come. I remember a couple of times I waited for a bus. The bus came at 7:15. I waited till like 8:20 for the bus. Like, that's sometimes how unreliable Las Vegas transportation is. So it was really exciting for us to have a car. Now, a little bit before we got it registered, the check engine light came on, and I am just like, fuck, I have the worst luck. Now, I know I told you guys to always check, which I did, and sometimes some things are just unavoidable, but the check engine light came on and I was freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, it's terrible. It has to be terrible. It has to be terrible. This is going to be bad. How did he fucking do that? I don't know how he did it. So I took it back to AutoZone only to find out that it was an O2 sensor. Now, changing an O2 sensor isn't really hard. And a funny thing about that is that my car I've had it for 7 years, 6 years. I still haven't changed that O2 sensor. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's bad. But with this particular car, the Hyundai Elantra, it's completely stupid. If you change the oil and if you don't crash it, it'll last. And another good thing about some older cars is that if you take out the battery of the car for an extended period of time, it'll reset the computer. So when you go get your smog check, it won't show up. So that's what I've basically been doing for 7 whole years. Too lazy to change the O2 sensor, because in this particular car, it does nothing against the vehicle. It really doesn't. I'm sorry, it doesn't do anything. And you can call me a bad mechanic or a bad person for it, whatever, but I don't see a reason to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it's been 7 whole years since that problem has aligned up. Now, will I change it eventually? Well, I guess if I do sell it to somebody and they wanted it changed, I'd help them change it. But still, they don't need it changed. So that was the first problem with my car, was diagnosing what was wrong with it and then being able to assess the situation. At this very particular time, I didn't have anything to worry about because it was something really minuscule, and I thought I could figure out my car. So we've had the car for about 2 years since then. It's around 2013. And one day, Amber calls me up and she's like, yo, what up? I'm like, what up? She's like, the car doesn't start. And then here I am again going through a spiral. Now, keep in mind, I paid $1,000 for this car. So between 2011 and 2013, I've had this car for 24 months. Now, $1,000 for a car that lasts you for 24 months is fucking phenomenal, if you ask me. I couldn't even think of a better price point. If you divide, let me see if I can pull up my calculator just so I can be accurate. So 1,000 divided by 24 is, I paid essentially $41.66 and 0.7 cents for that car, which is like, okay, you know, if it is time for that car to go, then hey, I guess it's time for that car to go. It's not really much else to think about it. But come to find out, she actually knew someone that was pretty decent with cars. He took a hammer and hit the starter, and then the car starts right back up. So he tells me that it's a starter. I'm like, okay, cool. What's a starter? And again, at this point in time in my life, I knew exactly nothing about cars. I knew the smallest thing. I knew how to turn them on. I knew how to start them. Hell, I didn't even know how to drive them. So it was like, he told me it was a starter, and I'm thinking it's this huge job. I start calling up a couple of mechanics, and they start giving me outrageous prices. One wanted $1,000, like, to change the starter. The other one wanted $500, another one at $200, another one at $100. And I was going to take the $100 deal until I started thinking, I was like, why does this person want $1,000? Why does this person want a $100? And they're all talking about this is just for labor. So I'm thinking, if one person wants $1,000, which is outlandish, that is completely terrible. That was a real shock. And then a mobile mechanic wants $100. What does it really take to fix this car? So I do a lot of research, or not even a lot of research. I open up YouTube, I type in change a starter for a 97 Hyundai Elantra. It didn't come up on YouTube, but I was able to find changing the starter for quite a few other cars. And it looked like you just go inside the car, take out the piece, and put in another piece. So why mechanics start to charge you exorbitant amounts of money for doing stuff like that is completely crazy. And if you guys didn't know, that's most of the parts in your car. You change certain parts in your car. It is that simple. You go in there, you take out the part, you put in another part. There's no rocket science to most of the shit about fixing your car. I promise you guys that. So I look at the video and I'm like, I can do this myself. So for a couple of days, I'm kind of procrastinating, but I'm trying to build myself up to, I can do this myself. I can do this myself. I can do this myself. And another snag comes across me is I don't have the tools. So I look up all the requirements, and I needed I think a 10mm socket wrench, a 12mm socket wrench, a socket wrench, obviously. I have no tools whatsoever. And a couple of other like small here and there tools. And I look up where I can find these tools, and guess what? Walmart actually sells a box of these tools for $20 fucking. So for the people that say, oh, I don't have the tools, or the people that say, oh, I can't do it, there's YouTube and Google for, you know, learning how to do it. And then the tools are a lot cheaper than what I thought they were. And keep in mind, once you buy these tools once, unless you're me, if you take care of those tools, you never have to use them again. Or I'm sorry, you never have to buy them again. You'll always have those tools in your repertoire. So I thought that that was fucking a deal. So my wife we went to go buy the tools together. We came home and I hit up my boy. Now, my boy, he knows nothing about cars either, but he's just like me. We like to break shit apart. We like to fix shit. We like to dig into shit. And he thought it would be a fun opportunity to dig into something without any risk to him. So we disconnect the battery. Always remember, disconnect the battery, especially when you're going into electrical parts. Yes, the starter does involve the battery, in case you guys didn't know. I'm a lot more knowledgeable now than before, but yeah, you might want to disconnect the battery. Even if you don't think that you're gonna use the battery, just disconnect the battery. I don't know. I have a thing about that. I just feel like it's supposed to happen like that. I don't want to touch anything. I don't want to fuck up anything. And still to this day, I don't want to say I'm a grandmaster at, you know, being a mechanic, but more often than not, if you do have a problem with your car, it's going to be electrical over anything else. So you're going to disconnect the battery. But we disconnect the battery and we start going deep into this car. Now, the problem with my Elantra in most foreign cars is that normally their parts aren't exactly where you want them to be. On an American car, which if you guys have an American car, congratulations, you're probably shit on your miles and your car is probably going to break down faster, especially if it's a Ford. But if you guys do have one of those cars, then everything is literally in front of you. You pop the trunk or the hood and all of your parts are there. You can just take out and put in whatever you want. With foreign cars, it's a little different. My starter was hidden in the back of the engine behind the intake. It was just so much shit we had to take out to get into the starter. And then we finally pulled out the starter, put the other starter in, turned on the car, and we were driving the car. We were driving, bro, it was the most exciting fucking thing. It was exhilarating as hell. We were taking apart all these parts. We were kind of flipping out. Amber was watching. I think her family came over for some reason. I think they were coming to get the kids. They were watching, and then they were like, no, he's not. He's gonna kill everybody. He's gonna blow up. And bro, we were calm. We were quiet. We were collected. We didn't know what we were doing, but we felt we knew what we were doing. And we kept working, and we kept working, and we got it done. That's how I did my very first job on a car. And I still remember it to this day. It was fucking fun as hell. Now there were a couple of other problems that, you know, that the car wound up having because my wife sucks at driving. She doesn't suck. She's just really aggressive. And one of them had to be the bearing being changed in the car. So here's another thing I want you guys to watch out before we wrap this video. So I want to say maybe it's like a year or so that passes after that, and our car starts to make a really, really loud noise when she turns. So I look it up and I'm thinking, okay, it might be the power steering, but I'm also hearing this crackling sound when she drives as well. We pull up into an auto shop and they're like, oh, well, your bearings are out. One of your bearings are out. You guys, she's been driving over speed bumps a little too hard. And yeah, when you drive over speed bumps a little too hard, you can fuck up your bearings. The problem with this particular car is that the bearings needed to be pressed on. Now, there are two different types of bearings. One that can literally be just taken out and put in. And then there's the ones that have to be pressed in. And I know you guys are probably like, huh? But think of it, if you ever like worked on skateboards or whatever, that's basically what it is. That little bearing inside, that's the exact same thing that goes into a car, except a bigger version of it. And this one needed to be pressed in, and you couldn't kind of hammer it in like you would do with a skateboard or anything. You had to like have a machine to press it in this particular version. They were trying to charge me $1,000 to do that job. And I was like, that doesn't feel right. And somebody on the side, one of the mechanics, he was like, you know what? I can buy your car. I was like, how much? He said $700. So in the back of my mind, immediately I'm thinking, if my car required this much work, why are you offering to buy my car for a pretty decent price? Which at that time, I think it was 4 years later. So 1,000. Obviously, we're not going to count in, you know, registration or everything. Even though the registration was cheap, I think the registration has always been like $60 for the car. So actually, let's count that in. So that's 240. So 1,000 plus 240 equals 1,240. Now I think we had the car for a good 4 years. So we're going to divide it by 4. Essentially, that doesn't make sense. We had it for 4 years, so we divided by, my apologies, so 1,240. What's 4 times 12 is 36. Then we divided by 36. So essentially, I paid $34 for the car, and he was going to give me $700 back. And that is fucking awesome. I'm literally like, I'm thinking about it, but I'm like, that don't really make sense. Why are you trying to buy my car? That means it must be something, you know, about this car or something not really wrong with this car. So we wound up getting it towed back to my house. A friend of mine, he works on electronics too, at this shop that was closed, that was now closed down. And he was telling me, bro, what are you talking about? Because they were trying to charge me like $300 for the part $700 for labor or something like that. He looks at the part is fucking $40. And I'm like, okay, so they're trying to charge me $300 for the part, but the part's really $40. So how much is really the labor? I wound up getting in contact with a mobile mechanic, and I wound up taking my car over to him, and he wound up, you know, he was a really, really good person. He taught me a little bit about cars, and we wound up working together on fixing the bearing. Now, was the bearing hard? Fuck no. It really was easy. You take off the wheel, you take off the hub, that's it. Literally, you take out the bearing, and you take it to a shop. The shop will probably charge you 20 bucks. You get it pressed in, you put it back on. It was that fucking simple. And I'm telling you guys, when you have a problem with your car, it is more often than not, unless your wife or you fuck up the engine or transmission, it's pretty simple to fix. And a lot of times these shops or these mobile mechanics or whatever, they want to fuck you. So if you guys can, or if you know someone that's good with cars that you can trust, perfect. I guess you don't have to know anything. But if for the people like me that want to know, or for the people that just want to have it because they don't want to spend that extra money when they can do it themselves, I strongly suggest you look online and try to figure it out yourself. And once you do figure it out yourself, or I mean, if you could get professional help to figure it out, I've actually called mobile mechanics a couple of times to come check out the car or take it to a shop and they'll check it out sometimes, more often than not for free. But once you figure that out, do a little bit of research on how to do it and then see if you can fix it yourself, because more often than not, you can fix it your damn self. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I kind of have a second part to this video. It's more of a rant. It's about my second car, not my third car. I love my third car. That's my baby. It's about my second car that we got. We have 3 cars right now, and the second car is an older model or a younger version of the first car we had, and we picked it up because we thought it would be really awesome to have 2 of the same car. I can't wait to give you guys the story of this car because I fucking hate this car. Even though I love the younger or the older counterpart, but go ahead and give this video a like. If this video helped you, give this video a like if you guys want to see more of the story of the TheCaliEffect. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you, well, tomorrow for a Yu-Gi-Oh video, but next week for another story.
My dumb ass.
The Lucio is discorded. Oh wait, I have a Pharaoh's coming back up there on 2nd floor.
Hey, behind us. Not the behind us.
I was thinking, there's nobody behind there on top.
Hey, get this fucking
Diva V-Max.
Pharaoh off my ass, bro. Are we fucked? Are we fucked? Are we fucked? Are we fucked? No, we're not. Oh my fucking god, you fat bitch. Come here, let me get the booty. Let me get that booty.
Ooh, shit, that's that ult. Oh, I'm dead. I'm dead. Get her, Jim. Alright, that's good enough. Get to the point, to the fucking thing now. Damn, he ripped the fuck out of us. Ah, we need to the fucking point. She just had to walk all the way over there. Yeah, you guys are dead. If, me and Lucio are both dead. Couldn't be eating over there.
I'm gonna fall back then. I mean, if my healers are dead, then...
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck I'm killing this shit as Roadhog. Oh my fucking god, I hate this bitch.
Oh, you're still back with Jim.
You know, maybe tanking's my thing.
Oh shit.
Where's it coming
from?
from?
Jim. You got it wrecked the fuck out of Jim.
Jimmy, you got it? You shot it? My nigga Jim! My nigga Jim shot it?
He's died.
Good fucking job, Slim Jim.
Bitch, get the fuck out of my face.
Can't believe my nigga Slim Jim shot that shit.
Get this bitch! Jimmy jumped down. Oh, they were bashing now. He's sitting up top.
Well, unfortunately, I don't think there's much I can do.
Yeah.
I don't know why I threw my fucking chain.
Get that within.
I got him. Oh my, don't you hate when that shit happens?
What? Oh, bad shit on me. Good shit. Ah, they call me God Nyada.
That was really clean.
Play of the game.
Okay, we got
Shawnee
quite a
Mac.
few comments, and I probably can't see any of them if I go to my manager right now.
冻住，不洗澡。
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Nah, Jim, you missed my shit, bro. I had like fucking quintuple kill. Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Oh, in the back, saving, what's his name? Kelly.
Well, I didn't. Hey, your ult saved our lives like more than once.
Yeah. I usually try to save it. Usually I try to save it for like when I hear like a soldier, or I hear soldier ult, or maybe a roadhog ult, or even a fucking Reaper ult. Cause like if it's like a McCree won't do anything, he'll kill. Junkrat will kill you. I have